Good afternoon, everybody. It's Todd, and I have with me Brenda Howard on the call. Thank you for joining us for our August conference call. This time I'd like to welcome and recognize any new coordinators that may be on the call. If you're new, if you would, go ahead and speak up and introduce yourself to the group.
I'm Karen Johnson, and I am new. This is my first time at a Zoom meeting.
Hi, Karen.
Hey, Karen.
Hey.
Hey, I am Deidre Curry. I'm also new. I'm with County in Dallas.
Hey, Miss Deidre.
Hello, I'm Tina Hopkins. I'm also new, and I'm in Mountain Home covering Baxter and Marion counties.
Anyone else? All right, just so you'll know, Kim Morris is with ASU Mid-South now. She was previously with Newport. So I'd like to congratulate her and welcome her back to the team. This time we'll go ahead and move into roll call. So if you hear your LEA, your programs, you would just recognize by saying here, Arkansas Baptist, ASU BB,
Here.
ASU Mid-South, ASU Mountain Home,
Here.
ASU Newport, ATU Ozark, Black River Tech, Cossatot,
Here.
Koto,
Here.
East Ark,
Here.
Fayetteville,
Here.
Fort Smith, Lone Oak,
Here.
Little Rock School District, North Ark,
We're here.
National Park,
Here.
NWAC,
Here.
ARCA, Pulaski County, Phillips,
We're here.
Russellville,
Here.
South Ark,
Here.
SAU Tech,
Here.
Sea Ark,
Here.
Rich Mountain,
Here.
Hope, Texarkana,
Here. Here.
Batesville,
Here.
Morrilton,
Here.
McGee,
Here.
Pulaski Tech, Van Buren.
Here.
All right, at the end of the meeting, I'll go back to catch anybody that may come on late. Before we get into the meat of everything, we'd like to give everybody an opportunity to do a quick report out on the virtual counties that provide case management. If you're on the line and provide virtual case management, if you would give the group a quick report out.
Todd, this is Jim. Things are definitely better. We're still having some connection issues, but all in all, things have definitely improved. And hearing from a lot of clients and prospective participants.
Good to know. What seems to be making it better? Can you speak to that?
The connectivity is definitely better, and I think the program being around a little bit longer, since it is new,
Right.
is definitely bring it into view.
All right, good to know.
Hey, it's Dorothy.
Hey, Dorothy.
Hey, I'm having connectivity issues as well. When we did our test, they said it was our internet at our location, but I have linked someone up with my cell phone and my internet, and it worked great. So I need to know who I need to get a hold of to see if we can somehow get better internet or better connectivity issues in Prairie County.
Send an email to SnapET
Okay.
and specify the issue you're having and ask for assistance.
Okay, I've done like phone interviews for the last 3 interviews because they can't get the WebEx to connect.
Okay. Yeah, do that and keep us up to date.
Okay.
Hi, Todd. We finally were able to join the meeting. This is Kathy.
Hey, Kathy, we're doing a virtual update. What you got on Scott County?
Well, I have one client who's almost completed her GED.
Yay.
And then, I know, yay. And then I have 10 that were scheduled between the 1st and the 15th. 9 were no-shows. 1 was employed, which was good. And then I have 7 more scheduled for the month of August. So we're
Good
trucking along.
deal. Anyone else?
Todd, can I say one more thing? This is
Sure.
Jim. Reed, when he came back over and I discussed the situation, and so many of the times we have people that actually show up for the meeting at the DHS, the virtuals, but I never see them again because they have to go to the adult education site in order to do testing. And I don't know what it is about the testing that tends to frighten them off, but something does. And it seems like there would be such a help if we could just go ahead and have our virtual at the adult education site, because that is the very next place they need to go. And for some with transportation problems, that becomes an ordeal.
Yeah.
And we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone there, so to speak.
Those of you that provide virtual, what do y'all do on follow-up that can help Jim?
Well, call. What I do. This is Bridget.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me? This is Bridget.
Okay, Bridget, I got you.
Yes, I'll call their contact number, leave a message, and I have sent another letter out to remind them about their appointment.
Does that work?
Yeah, I do that too.
Jim, are they taking the assessment when you send them over there?
As soon as I can get them to do the testing, then I finish the assessment as soon as they're done with the testing.
Are they taking the tape test?
Yes. If
Okay.
they go over to the Adult Education Center, they take the TABES test, and I finish the assessment, and I get them set up to go into participation. But I have so much trouble with them getting to the Adult Education Center site to do the testing from the virtual.
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm saying what I'm saying is because we have basically, we still do virtuals at Sevier County, but simply because we have virtual possible at the Adult Education Center, I have probably twice as many people that are participating or are preparing to.
Yeah.
And I handle it directly with the adult education site.
Huh. All right. Well, that's good to know.
Todd, this is Kim. May I say something, please?
Sure.
Erica has sent a text message to me she's saying she can hear everyone, but for some reason no one can hear her. So she is having some technical difficulty out of Clinton today. She's tried to report out, but she cannot get the audio working.
Okay. Do you know how your virtual's going there in Perry County?
Todd, I will tell you, it's interesting. Of course, that's going to be probably our slowest county. I don't think we're getting great participation in terms of people coming in to sit down to do the virtual with Erica. The equipment's in place and ready for usage. It's just we are having trouble sparking the energy, I think, in that county.
Right. Right. All right. Joel, are you and Donna on the line?
I'm here.
And I'm
Donna?
We're here.
I'm here.
Okay. You were just waiting for your turn?
Okay. Can you hear me okay, I guess?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. I guess we've never tested our virtual with Mount Ida. We don't have anybody down there that uses it. It is set up.
So you're waiting to test?
I'm sorry?
You're waiting to test?
Yes.
Okay. I will send a reminder out.
I only have one client in Montgomery County who needs anything, I have 2 clients in Montgomery County, but only, none of my clients need anything virtual at the moment because they're in some sort of training program and then work experience. And both of them actually came to MENA, to my office. So, at the moment, I don't have anybody that uses it, but.
Okay. Are you getting any? Are you getting any referrals?
I do get several Montgomery referrals, but none of them answer back. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Good deal. All right.
Okay.
Next item. Say something.
Yeah, this is Bridget. I want to give a report for Calhoun County.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, I invited 10 of my virtuals and 1 showed up. He was scheduled to do his tape this morning at 8 o'clock and he was a no-show. So I'm gonna call him this afternoon and see if he can reschedule and come in tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Sorry to hear that, but sometimes that happens.
Yes.
All right, our next item, we're going to move to a monthly data report. I know y'all don't have any questions about this, so we'll move through it pretty quick. That was supposed to have been a joke. Y'all all on mute, I guess. All right, so appreciate you sending them in, those of you that did and did on time. That was very, very good of you. This will become part of our process as we wrap up a month. We'd like to have it by the 10th of the following month, so if you could mark your calendar on a reminder, that will help so that we don't have to remind you. I'm going to go through this. Brenda's actually going to working on a kind of a clarification or legend, so to speak, so that if you have a question on a particular column, you can refer to that, and that'll give you a bit, maybe a more clear guidelines on what it is that we're looking for. Again, this is so that we can better interpret our data from the SnapWorks system, because the SnapWorks system is primarily designed for case management. It's not capturing the data that we once had access to, so that's the purpose of this. So referrals received, column B, is the number of referrals you received during a month. So some of you get them daily, some of them may come in sporadically, but however you keep track, if you make tick marks on a calendar and then update this Excel, however you want to do it, it's fine with me. If you want to edit each cell every week or every day, that's entirely up to you. Reverse referrals and volunteer referrals are just what they are. Reverse referrals is a person that's receiving SNAP and they hear about the ENT program and they want to participate, and you conduct a reverse referral with them. Volunteer is if you've got a student at your program that is not currently receiving SNAP benefits, you get them enrolled, and then at the same time they participate in ENT. Usually those numbers are low, but we want to capture that information. The next column, column E, is physical contacts made. We actually added the word physical from the last time that we met as a better describer. So however you make contact, initial contact with your clients, whether it's on the phone, via text, or in person. In other words, it's an appointment, a time that you actually make contact with them. That's a physical contact. So we don't want how many letters you send out, how many postcards you send out, how many calls that you make that go unanswered. We want physical contact where you actually have established some kind of means of communication with that individual. Column F is number of declined participation. Brenda and I are still kind of working out on this, but I think what we decided for July is those that did not want to participate. So you contacted them and they said, I don't want to do this. So right now that's what we're going with. We may change that, but right now it's those that decline participation. Column G is the number of assessed. Now this is one of those dual vocabulary words. If you've been in some subsequent training, we have some dual vocabulary words between SNAP and adult ed. This isn't the number that you completed the SNAP Works assessment on. These are the number that you actually provided a TABE assessment on, or whatever you use for non-English speakers, whether it's CASAS, Best Literacy, or whatever. And that's per individual. So if you do all three, if you do all three parts of the TABE, that's not three, that's just one. We just want to know how many you assessed. The next column, number participating, this is your actual caseload. So this particular column will actually have carryover in it. So for July, it should have included how many you actually have coming to you that are in your active caseload. So for August, if you have folks that are still participating in the program, it will include those that are actually participating. The next column, I, work experience. Again, that's the component work experience. How many do you have in that component doing work experience? Job search includes independent job search. We don't recommend you putting them in that category, but it does include that if you use it. Job retention, if you'll remember, that's the component where you might ask for assistance from DHS for those that need equipment or paraphernalia to perform or keep or obtain their job, such as aprons, gloves, shoes, those kinds of things. Now, ABE is for non-GED clients or students. So for those of you that know, when we bring a client comes in and we do the initial consult, and we provide them the TABE assessment or the non-English speaking assessment, that's where that individual will go, unless they don't have their high school diploma and they need to work on their GED, work on obtaining their GED. Then they would go in column M under earned GED. I know it says earned, but that's where folks go that are working on their GED. I take that back. That's where they go when they earn their GED.
You think?
So they'll all go under ABE, whether they got their GED or not. And then when they earn it, they will go in column M under earned GED. I hope I didn't confuse anybody.
Ted, this is Billy Gardner. If you're going to put earned GED, why don't you just put on before that in the GED program and then put earn, because sometimes they participate in GED, but they don't earn it. So that way you could cut out confusion on that earn.
Okay. Is there any reason why you couldn't just put them under ABE?
Because that's the basic.
That's a what?
Isn't that a basic? They're in the basic class.
Yeah.
But if you make up just one more column and put participating or PART participating and then earn, that would make a distinction, I think. But
anybody else have any preference on that?
Why do we need the earned GED column at all?
That's a credential that we capture. When you
So
look
these
at
would be clients that are. So would this be a number that would get added to every month? Because after they earn their GED, well, they might still be in the program.
correct. But if you look under the goals, the second goal,
Right.
the GED is a credential. Just like if they earned a certificate of completing a short-term program or anything else.
So you only want us to count them in column M if they're still an educational component and they earn their GED through our program with our building.
Yeah, whenever they get their GED, that's when you would record it.
Okay. Thank you.
Why don't you make column L basic skills? They'd be working on that whether they had a GED or even occupational training.
Say that again, Joel.
Why don't you make column L a basic skills instead of ABE?
I can do that. Would everybody know that that's what that is?
well, I thought basic was different from the GED for reporting purposes. But you got basic, some are in basic, and some are moving up to the GED. If you did that.
Yeah.
Or just put it as occupational training.
But that's including the GED and the basic combined, which are usually kept separate, but, you know, whatever.
Todd, where would you put CRC then?
CRC is an educational component,
So it should be in there too, shouldn't it?
so it could go under ABE.
Yeah,
And I think I like that title, basic skills.
yeah. So you could put your CRC under basic skills also.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
if they earn that, you need to put earned with GED.
Yeah.
Why don't we, because if they're in wage classes, they're not in a basic skills class, so why don't we change column L to educational component and then column M to earn certificate? Because like you said, you could earn
Actually,
CRC or wage.
Wage should be under job search.
What?
Wage
Okay.
should be under job search.
Okay, Todd, this is Kim. That's where I was going to ask is where did wage go? So if they are participating in wage, that's going to go under column J, job search.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah.
Todd, this is Amy. That is so confusing.
Yeah.
In order for everyone to remember where to put wage, can we change column J to be job search and wage or somewhere to where we'll easily identify where that goes?
We could, and again, we're going to provide a cheat sheet or legend, whatever you want to call it, that'll go along with this, and it'll reference each column on what should be in there. And we'll be getting that out soon. And it probably would be a good idea to put wage under the title job search.
Yes, and I agree. I don't know who said it, but I agree that column L should be changed to educational component and then M changed to earned credential, unless you guys are specifically wanting to know who's ABE and GED.
Todd, this is Barbara. I have a question. Why would you put wage under job search but leave CRC under occupational training?
That's the way the handbook has it identified.
Okay.
Yeah, I question that too, but And it really, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense in a way for Waze. I don't necessarily agree with CRC, but that's the way they identified it in the handbook. So if we change the ABE column L to educational or EDUC, would we need to add a column for participating in GED? If we had EDUC, education, everybody know to put their folks in that column once they receive a TABE assessment, whether they're working on their GED or you just gave them the reading assessment and they're off doing something else.
Todd, I'll speak up from a director's standpoint. That makes sense to me. So you don't have to necessarily specify,
Okay.
but at least you know, yes, they are enrolled in an educational component.
Okay.
What
And then
if
we'll
they're-
go ahead.
Todd,
Yeah.
what if they're enrolled in CRC and GED?
You just count them once.
Even if they got the earned, you'd count them again for earned, wouldn't you?
If they got their GED, yeah.
And what if they got their CRC certificate?
Well, that's a good question.
They would have to be counted again because that's a pretty important tool there.
Yeah. I could see maybe adding a column for that.
Or you could change it just to certificates earned. Instead of counting people, you're counting the actual certificate.
Well, and see, that's what the N column, vocational training, is capturing. That's capturing your CNAs, your welders, your whatever you got out there where they earn that credential.
So do we need to only add them if they've earned the credential in vocational training?
Correct.
Why don't you take off GED and leave the earned certificate on there, and then in your explanation in the key, include all those things that can be earned?
That's a good idea. And then vocational training, that would just be those that are in that program. And when they complete it, you would move their credential or tick in M.
Right. I think that makes more sense.
I like that. Does anyone have any questions on that? Thoughts?
Hey, Todd, I noticed where Vicky Shadell just added a chat comment a second ago. Is there the possibility of reinstating the previous type of report that we've used?
So you don't like my report, huh?
I didn't say that. Vicky's the one that typed it. No, I'm playing. I think she was just throwing that out as food for
I
thought.
understand. I thought they were similar. Maybe they're different. I don't know.
Hey, I'm just learning this one. I'll be glad to keep this one.
All right, I'm going to review what we've done.
Todd, may I ask one fast question before you do that? I made a note real fast, like when we were going through, like the physical contacts made, the number that declined participation. Is there a certain spot where the case managers are supposed to note the number of people that they just cannot contact? It's either you can't get them by phone or by email, or you mail them a letter and those letters are returned. Is there a segment of the population that we're supposed to identify as unable to contact?
No, ma'am, not on this report.
Got it.
So what we're considering revising is starting in where did we start? Actually, starting in column F, number declined. Again, that's number that should not include unanswered requests. So just like Kim was saying a minute ago, any kind of non-response, what we'd like is a communicative response. In other words, verbally, email, text, however they responded. That's what we're looking for. The next column, number assessed, this is those that you have actually given an assessment, there's TABE or one of the ESL assessments too. And then number participating is your actual caseload. So how many clients are you currently that are active working with in that month? And again, there may be some that you worked with in previous months, but they need to be active. They don't need to be, they need to be active by the last day of that month, okay? I already covered work experience. So job search, this includes independent job search, and I'll add wage on that as well so that we're clear on that. Job retention, we covered that. The ABE column, L, I think we're going to change that to basic skills. That'll be anyone that is currently working in whether they're working on their GED or they're in a class that we offer in adult ed, reading, language, math type of class.
I like that better.
CRC, right?
Component. Also include anyone that's working on their CRC.
Okay.
That's basic. Okay.
What'd you say, Jim?
Yes, that's
Okay.
what I said.
Yeah, I like that.
Next
Okay.
column, N, instead of earned GED, it would be, what did we say that was? Earned credential? Did we say earned credential on that one?
Yes.
Okay. And that's where you would put GED, CRC, I guess that's really it on that. So I may just put /CRC by GED. How would that work?
That'd work.
And then, okay, go ahead.
So I understand you want wage to go under job search. So does that just mean the ones that are enrolled, or does that mean the ones that have earned that certificate? Or are you not tracking wage certificates?
No, we're not tracking them here. So
Okay.
that, to answer your question, it would be, were they currently enrolled in the month of July?
Okay.
If they were,
So
then you,
this report would not track earning a certificate?
correct. You have other ways of doing that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then vocational training would be those short-term training courses, whether it's CDL, CNA, welding, whatever your clients may go to receive that. And that would be the number enrolled. That wouldn't be the number that actually completed. So if you sent a client to CDL training during that month, you'd put a tick there.
Spoke to somebody about the bus numbers or whatever it is I need.
Anyone have a question?
I do. This is still about the wage going under job search. Is that job search training? I'm confused because I don't.
Yeah,
my handbook-
job search training.
Okay, so this needs to be independent job search and job search training that we count under the job search column.
Correct.
Okay.
I'll add training so it won't confuse you.
If they are on the bus, yes.
Well, there's two different components that have job search in it. That's why I'm confused. Do you want both components
Yes.
tracked here? Okay.
I'll add IJS as well.
Todd, this is Sherry at North Ark. I have a question. Would you please give another definition of volunteer referrals?
Volunteer referral. That could be a student at North Ark that friend told them about how they could get reimbursed for travel coming to class. And so they go in and they see Karen, and Karen says, well, I've got a website here that you can check to see if you can qualify on. And she has them go to that website. In 48 hours, they can be enrolled into SNAP, providing they meet the guidelines. And then at the same time, they can, please mute your phone. Then they can, at the same time, they can say, hey, I'm interested in ENT as well. And the county office will put them in the ENT. So a volunteer referral is someone that is not currently receiving SNAP benefits that want to participate in the ENT program.
Okay, so that's what I needed clarification on. I was just unsure if you said a person not participating in SNAP already. So a
Correct.
reverse referral is someone who is participating in SNAP, but they, on their own, come to us or we seek them out and they're already receiving SNAP and they want to participate in the ENT program.
Right. And that
Okay,
person
thank-
could be exempt already.
Okay.
Oh, in other words, they could have a dependent, could be over 59, 49, whatever.
But they'll count as a reverse referral. They can still participate on, well, I always thought that was a volunteer, but they can participate as a reverse referral.
Correct.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
thank
you've got
you.
them backwards, Todd.
Yeah, I do too.
You've got them backwards. A reverse referral is someone who's not receiving SNAP. A volunteer is someone who's otherwise exempt.
Yes, that's
All
right.
right. So
That's
just
right.
take what I said and reverse it.
Okay, I got it. We're good.
Yeah. If you need clarification, it's in the handbook. How's that?
That's perfect. I just wanted to be sure. Thanks.
Thanks, Dorothy.
Hey,
Hey,
Todd,
Todd.
may I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
On the reverse referrals, many times through the past couple of years, Mr. Giese has talked to me about, Kim, give us your list of students, and maybe that was from UACCM. We'll do data match with you so that you can do reverse referrals, or if we're saying volunteer referrals. I know there have been personnel changes at DHS. Is that still a service that's an option to us? And if so, who is our contact?
Yes, it is. And you can send me that, and I'll make sure it gets to who it needs to get to.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Because I do agree with what Stephen used to say in the fact that that's an untapped market that could help all of us far exceed our performance goals.
Yeah, it gives you a good contact list. We'll be doing data match again this fall, probably sometime in October with your adult ed students.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, so that'll be coming up. I think someone had a question at the same time you did. Do you
That was
remember?
me. This is Briley.
Hey, Briley.
Hey, on the referrals received column, that's just the referrals received. That's not like case closures or other things, is it?
Correct. Just referrals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Todd, I have a question now. Sorry, this is Jim.
Oh, you're all right.
On physical contacts made, what if it's someone that you're trying to keep up with? Are we to record every contact we made with them?
No, this would be like initial.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Todd, this is Barbara. I got another question following up on the wage. You said it's in the handbook. It's in the ENT provider handbook?
Yes, ma'am.
When you get off this call, can you send me an email to tell me kind of where that is so I can make sure that we have our components squared away the right way?
Okay.
Because I've got wage under occupational training.
Me too.
Okay.
And CRC.
All right, so the last column is O, employed. If they're working, that's where you'd put a tick on there.
Todd, what if you have someone who is a referral, comes to you, you get ready to do the assessment on them, they find a job and it's a good enough job that they're not going to keep their SNAP anyway. Isn't that a good thing? Don't we get to count that too?
Yeah. Yeah, so you'd put a tick under employed,
Yeah.
a tick under contact made, and however they came to you.
Okay. What about all those that happened before July?
Oh, we just want the month of July.
Okay.
This takes the month of June.
Okay.
Sherry, I think your phone's not muted.
Todd, it's not me. It's somebody else, but thanks.
Oh, okay. Well, I meant Sherry Oregon.
Okay, well, you just said Sherry, and I was
I
going to
know.
ask Sherry to talk to you.
Yeah, McDonald's is pretty good at lunch.
All right, so am I understanding you guys would like to see the occupational column added?
Only if that's where wage certificates need to go.
But if you put them under the job search or independent job search tab, you wouldn't have a heartburn on that one?
No, because we got CRC, clients taking CRC in the basic skills column, and then when they earn it, they go in the earned, right?
Right.
Todd, if you would specify on the column wage and CRC, then it'd be a no-brainer where to put it, you know, because just it saying job search leaves a lot of room for error.
I
So
agree.
if you specify exactly where it needs to go, I think it'll help us fill this out more accurately.
Okay. I can do that. Before we get off this topic, does anybody have any questions, comments, suggestions, recommendations, frustrations?
Have a frustration.
Only about this now.
Okay.
What can I do for you?
Nothing. I'll send you an email later.
Oh, okay.
Is there a new handbook that came out after July of last year?
There's a 19 one. I don't know what. Do you have that?
No, and that might be why I don't have wage under job search training.
All right.
Yes, Todd, this is Kaylin, I'm sorry, I don't think I even did my roll call. But could you send the updated component list with the hours? I still have the old one, but I can't find the new one.
The handbook?
Just the component chart matching the hours with the
Yeah,
component.
it's in the handbook. I'll send it out to you.
Okay, I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
No problem.
Todd, this is Sherry Connor again. Can you just send that new handbook to everyone?
You sure will.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Todd, this is Tammy in Jefferson County. Well,
Hey,
yeah,
Tammy.
will you just, I'm ditto in that fact. Will you send that handbook out to directors too? Because LaShawna's not sure she has the correct one, and I definitely know I don't have one.
I will send it out to directors too.
Thank you.
All right. I'll also send the updated data report. When we do, we'll send out the little cheat sheet that goes along that accompany that in case there's any questions about what goes where. We knew July would be rough as far as data. We don't have all the data even collected for that month, so we knew that would be a good a learning opportunity. But I'm glad we had this conversation because, you know, when you do something, you don't always do it the way people may interpret it. So I really appreciate y'all's input. And at any time, if something is confusing or ambiguous, please let us know because we want to make sure everybody's on the same page, okay? So we're going to go to the suggested topics. We sent an email out a couple weeks ago or a week ago asking if there was anything particular you guys wanted to cover. And we got it, and I put it in the form that you sent it to me. And so we've got some questions on clarification. I think I understand the first one that was sent. Wanting to know how other providers that have multiple counties are able to maintain virtual connectivity. So for those of you that have multiple counties, I think we may have covered this in our report on virtual case management. A couple of you said you were having connectivity problems. Anyone else experiencing connectivity that has virtual?
As I told you before, Todd, this is Jim. We still have some problems, but we're wading through it, and it is better. But it took a second trip by Reed in order for us to work out the bugs a little bit better.
Okay. Well, anytime anyone experiences that, please let us know so that we can make sure that DHS is aware of it and we can get that fixed. The second topic sent in was referrals. Reference was made that seemed like the referral numbers may be getting smaller in some weeks than others. Has anyone noticed a significant decline in referrals?
Yeah, sure
I have.
Yep.
Yes.
Would you like to elaborate on your yes?
This is Briley. I had probably 15, 16 last week, and I signed in this morning and had 0.
Okay.
Todd, this is Jim again. My particular referral list, of course, it was immense at the beginning, and I didn't expect it to be like that, thank God.
Yeah.
It has dwindled down now that even some of the DHS directors are wondering what's going on too, because they're just not getting applications like they used to.
Okay. And
This is Amy in
Go ahead.
Jefferson County. We've got 82 in the last 3 weeks, so ours hasn't slowed down at all.
Was that Leah?
That's Tammy in Jefferson County.
Oh, okay, Tammy. All right.
Maybe you got some of mine.
Well, I mean, as you know, you get referrals daily now, and,
Right.
you know, I can't speak exactly to why they may be the way they are, but that may have some impact in it. Someone else had a comment?
Todd, this is Maddie.
Hey, Maddie.
I've noticed that, like, there will be a couple of weeks where I'll go maybe the most I'll get in White County, which is our biggest county. I'll maybe have like 9 to 15, and then for several weeks after that, I'll have upwards of 30 in White County alone.
Okay. Good to know.
I'm having an issue with getting participating referrals from Prairie County, but I'm talking with DHS about it. But the Prairie County director said that she knows she sent out at least 2, and she thinks she sent out more participating referrals, and I'm not getting them.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw your email on that today. All right. Next topic was, and we just need clarification on this, client correspondence after initial contact. Anyone like to elaborate on that may have sent that in? No? Okay, we'll move to the next one. Partner collaboration. All right, what about schedule management? All right, here's one. When the Snap site glitches, or I made a mistake, how to troubleshoot for resolution. Anyone made a mistake? I saw one recently, and basically a person sent an email to Snap ET describing what they did. I think they even included the client's name, budget ID number. Don't think there was a screenshot at that time. Unfortunately, that's what you can do, and don't be afraid to admit it. I mean, if you make a mistake, it needs to be corrected for the client's interest and just to make sure everything's correct. This is a good time to put this in. Anytime you send a communication, an email to the Snap ET email address, please copy Brenda and I. That keeps us in the know of what's going on. We don't necessarily want to be in your business, but we need to know what's going on so that we can better respond and have a better idea of what's going on.
Todd, I'll ask a dumb question. If I make a mistake in one of the tasks that I'm supposed to perform, can't I just redo the task?
It all depends on what the task is.
Well, if it's in something in case management?
Yeah. It depends on the nature, what that task is.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the assessment,
So,
and you've already saved it, more likely you're going to have to go back and do another one.
yes, gotcha.
Yeah. If it's reimbursement, sometimes you can send an email letting them know that instead of $525, it should have been $25.
Right.
And they'll make the correction themselves on that. So it just depends on the nature of it.
Say thank you.
Yeah. The next topic was transportation reimbursements.
I'm going to cover that. When they do their transportation reimbursements, I'm sure everybody knows that it's $50 per month. And those travel reimbursements are submitted weekly. And that's by DHS's request. And so the thing is that they can't go over $50 per month. And so if they go over and you put it in there, you're still only going to request $50 from them, and that you'll attach those additional forms that are required with that. And they can have up to $600 per year. And if you look in your provider manual, it tells you specifics of other things that those reimbursements can be used for. So if you refer to that, make sure that it'll help have other things that they can actually be covered under that column, but they cannot exceed $50 a month. Any questions on that?
Was that Miss Brenda?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, this is Arlesia. I have a question concerning that travel. My clients, and well, I'm just going to say the majority of our counties that we work with, clients that we do our travel on, if we was doing it weekly, they may get just say $12, $12.50. And then when they go and get it cashed, if they don't have a checking account, that's $3 coming off of each time they get it cashed.
Right, and what they suggested is that maybe you try to run interference with the local banks or somewhere, because some of them have checks that are actually less than that.
Right.
And they can either keep them until they have enough of them, or to equal that $50, or you can try to go and advocate on their behalf and see if someone is willing to waive that fee for them.
I tried that a few years ago and they would not do it for me.
Yeah.
So they just said, I'll just, they either gonna get the 50 up front, or if they do it, several weeks, they'll just want to wait and just do it all at one time, which I know I'm not supposed to do that, but.
That's what I'd recommend.
They let me do mine that way.
Say it again?
They let me do mine that way.
Well, and I have been doing them and they've been getting them like that, but I just wanted to, clear that up.
Yeah, it's good question.
Any other questions related to the travel reimbursement?
Next topic is what is expected to be in folders. This will be your client hard copy folders. Again, we know we've got the case management system, SnapWorks. We've become accustomed to that and familiar with that. Just like any other computer program, it can be always subject to not being available when we need it the most, right? So we highly encourage you to maintain paper folders or paper files. You should have a copy of, if not the original intake adult ed form. If you don't do intake, just try to get a copy of it to put in there. Also, all your travel reimbursements, the copies, as you upload them, you should keep those in there. The assessment scores, and this would be your TABE or your ESL assessments. The career interest survey, as you give those, the results should be in the file. And also some kind of maybe a contact log where you can indicate on there the frequency of your contact, and then maybe depending on the nature of that contact, maybe what was to be expected. This could just be a simple sheet with lines where you just kind of maintain. And the whole purpose of this is, as we've had turnover throughout the state in different programs, just be mindful that if someone came in behind you, could they pick up where you left off? And the chances are, and y'all know the system probably better than I do, when you log in, where would they know to go and who to start looking at? So think through that way, so that, and I would even probably maintain some kind of an active contact list. Nothing else, they could just do a name search. But think through that scenario, because again, we have several programs that have experienced turnover, and it's very difficult for a brand new person to come in behind and know where to pick up and where to go. As well, not to mention that if the system goes down, what are you going to do then? So hopefully you've thought through some of that, but we do anticipate you having hard copy or paper folders on your active clients. Again, any client that discontinues service, we've got to maintain that for 7 years. So you might start a historical file for those clients. So we got here topic, examples of clients when they do or do not have to take a TABE assessment. This comes up frequently, and again, it's a case-by-case basis. However, since you guys are part of adult education, we follow several policies that the federal government requires us to follow. One is that we will assess our adult ed students. Now, the situation you can find yourself in sometimes is that a client just flat out refuses. For whatever reason, they just don't want to take one of the TABE assessments, whether it's reading, math, or language. Well, a way that you might find helpful, and I'm not saying this is what you need to do, again, it's case by case, is the CRC is considered part of in the educational component. You can put them in that. However, if you do diligence in your initial consult, I would almost guarantee you all the time that there's going to be something that client's going to need to have brushed up on. Whether it's reading, math, language, or whatever, there's going to be something they're going to need brushed up on. Because for those of you that are familiar with the Career Readiness Certificate, it's a one-shot wonder. So when they complete the curriculum and they're ready to be tested in work keys, which is how their certificate's generated based on their performance, if they score level bronze, which is the lowest level certificate, that's what they get. Now, the only exception to that rule is if there's an employer that comes in anywhere in the state, they get wind of, or in your area, that is requiring applicants to have a higher level certificate to be considered, and that could be silver, gold, or platinum, then that earner then could take that certificate without being charged for it. And that is the only exception. So I highly encourage you to do your due diligence in that initial consult and work with that individual. That's why that career interest inventory or survey is so important, to help them understand when they say they want to be a brain surgeon, they understand what's involved to be a brain surgeon. So I think we understand that, but hopefully that might help whoever may have suggested that topic. Next item is component examples. This is in that handbook that we're going to send out after our meeting, and you'll find that in there. The chart that Kaylin was asking about, I believe, is on page 11, where you can assign components. It's that matrix they talk about. So I think you'll find that beneficial. I also highly encourage you to print that page and have it so that you can readily access it when you're working with your clients, particularly when you're assigning components. The last topic that was sent in was SnapWorks time frame along with DHS time frame. I'm not real sure what that person was asking. Would anybody know?
I think they're referring to when we make a task or we do something, how long does it take for DHS to get it and vice versa?
No, well, the question was in regards to, well, when I met with my county office, and I do believe maybe possibly Ms. Brenda sent out an email about that they had a certain time frame that they had to act on certain clients. And so I was just trying to make sure that my process was not hindering anybody else's process.
Are you talking about overdue tasks?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to speak about that in a minute.
Okay.
And the only other thing I can think of, too, actually, is the client's reimbursement, travel reimbursement, just making sure we get those submitted weekly. That used to be one of the items when the audit group came out and did a review at your program. So you want to make sure that you're following that guideline. And also on reverse referrals, making sure that those are submitted timely so that there's not any kind of back pay opportunities that they might have to go back and do on that client's benefit. At this time, Brenda's got some things she wants to cover, so if you would give her your ear on that.
Okay, and on that SNAP work time frame, the other thing I thought maybe they potentially were asking, within DHS with the SNAP works, you have 30 days to complete your assessment with that participant. Now, adult ed has a different time frame, which is 12 hours. So when you refer them over for the adult ed, they have 12 hours to complete their initial assessment. So on that, that's all I'm going to say unless somebody wants to clarify what they meant, because we were kind of scratching our heads trying to figure out what you were actually getting at. But I'm just going to briefly go over a couple of things. I know some of you have received emails, and what I just wanted to do is try to explain what I'm doing when you get those emails for overdue tasks. Basically, the overdue task is anything that's left in the system after a certain amount of time, like say, for instance, if you schedule an appointment and you have appointment date set in there, when that task is not manually closed out, you have to actually go in the system and close out each of those tasks, because if it extends past the due date, then it's going to show up overdues on your client list. And some of those overdues may be participants that actually were referred, and they may no longer have a case that's open with DHS, and that's when you're going to get that yellow toast message. So what we strongly encourage you to do, because I've been sending out people notices, because on Monday morning, that's one of the things that I go in there and I pull. And so if you will just be mindful and review those overdue tasks a couple of times a week, and if any open tasks are there, and you can go on the view task screen, and it's going to show you which tasks are open, and then you determine whatever the response needs to be to close those out, because sometimes we have quite a few open tasks on people's caseloads, and they just haven't gone in there and closed it out. And this is a management information system, so you have to actually go in there and talk to the system and tell it what to do. If you don't close that task out, I saw some from as far as back as March. So if you don't go in there and tell the computer that this client case is closed or whatever, it's going to leave that task there. So just make sure you follow up and do that. And if you make it a point that you look at that maybe once on Monday and then look at it again on Friday, and make sure that any tasks that are open that you can go ahead and close those tasks out, that you make it a point of trying to do that. Any questions about that?
Hey, Brenda, can I make a comment?
Sure.
If you are on your search screen and you put your county, and then there's a box in the upper right corner that says task status, if you click open and in progress, usually you'll see those tasks like a referral that you might have worked that you just didn't close and forgot to close while you were working it. If you do open and in progress, you'll see every task that has not been ended officially in your county.
Thank you. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. I'm going to assume that it does. The other thing, Todd and I have made some site visits, and we appreciate you all for actually allowing us to see the processes, because one of the things that is one of my tasks is to try to create a uniform system of how we process and enter data into the SNAP Works and what kind of hard files that are in your offices. So we've made some site visits, and we've been really pleased with the uniform, the data management within the office. But what we really want you all to see, really want you all to start doing, is actually capturing that in SNAP Works. Because remotely, if DHS can only see what's in that system, you may be working really hard for your clients, but if you're not matching that up and entering that information in the system, then your efforts are not really going to be captured. Because I've heard people comment that they want to get credit for completing assessments or doing different interactions with the clients. The way that you actually get credit for that and people actually see the work that you're doing is if you're actually entering that information into the SnapWorks system. And so what I wanted to do, if you go in, because I've been reviewing a lot of the tasks, open tasks, and some of the caseloads remotely. So whenever that client, when you make any contact, when you get the referral from DCO, and you send out an appointment schedule or call them, all your efforts should be reported in that contact history. If you actually follow up with make an appointment with that client, then you need to make sure that you're putting those scheduled appointments there, because like Todd said, if we have turnovers and other things, if you have not maintained that there is a appointment schedule, then someone has to go and try to find whatever processes were put in place to see who's coming in or who's scheduled to make sure that those clients are seen and they have whatever they need to do to be able to conduct that interview. And then make sure that you're putting your information in or your assessments. We've had questions about people with the TABE scores, and the way the system currently is if you want to put those TABE scores in and you know that it's going to be a week or so before they're scheduled to come back to do that, and it's fallen within that 30-day point of being able to, for you showing that you've conducted your assessment, then you would have to, right now, the way the system is to close out that assessment and then come back in and re-enter that data to be able to capture their TABE. And we do need the TABEs captured in the SnapWorks system, because SnapWorks within itself is actually measuring and keeping up with any gains that are done by the participant. So we do need those scores in there, but they're in the process of trying to update SnapWorks where you'll have the opportunity to go in there and enter those scores later without having to go in and create and fill out those fields again. But currently that's the way the system is, so we want to make sure that people are being able to fall within that 30-day requirement, but at the same time being able to capture those TABE scores. Any questions on that? And the other thing is making sure that whenever you have any interactions with the clients, that you're putting a case note in there. Sometimes with certain things that you do, like with your scheduled appointments, when they complete it or no-show, it gives you a screen right there for you to document whatever the outcomes or make comments about it. You can just copy and paste that and put a case note in the file to correspond with that. And there are some, say for instance, you may get a referral on the first of the month, and when you finally get and send out a notice, you see that the yellow toast has come up on that client. That means that DCO has closed that case out. If DCO has closed that case out, then you should no longer be working with that participant. And so what you'll have to tell them is that, look, from our end, it looks like your case has been closed, so you need to get in touch with your DCO caseworker and see about getting your food stamp case reopened. But what also you need to do before you just close that case out, go in the case notes and say DCO closed case file. That way they know that by the time you got there to schedule an appointment, this person's case was already closed. Any questions about that? And the other thing that I wanted to cover briefly is making sure that participants are actually doing their 80 hours that are required. And I know for some it's really hard getting people back in and getting them to participate and do the components that are scheduled. But if they are only doing 79 hours a month, then what you have to do is send a task to say non-compliance. And I think if you, on the front end, explain to the participant that this is a requirement of DHS. This is not you doing anything, but this is a requirement to participate in the program. And so they have to do those 80 hours. If they are not completing their 80 hours, they are considered non-compliant. And what we don't want to do is allow the client to ride on, and then when it finally catches up with them and they go in there and see that they've not been participating, then it could result in an overpayment, and we really don't want that to happen. So we really want to try to advocate on them, on their behalf, even when they're not looking out for themselves. Any questions about that? And the last thing that I had on here, make sure that when you have a person that's wanting to submit a reimbursement for travel or wanting to enroll in a program and receive a scholarship, that they are actually participating in the program. If they only came in and did that initial assessment, or they scheduled an appointment, they were a no-show, they have not participated at all, and then a month later they come in and say, I want to go to that I want to go to the small engines class, or I want to do the CNA class. They have to be actively participating in the program for them to approve those scholarships. And even when they're doing the travel reimbursements, you're submitting it weekly. Make sure they are participating in the program, that there is actually an assessment completed, an employment plan, and those components have been entered in the system. Because when DHS goes back and reviews that, even if you submit that travel reimbursement, they're not going to get paid if they're not actively participating in the program. Any questions about that? Well, I appreciate your time, and I look forward to meeting you all. And again, I thank the ones that have allowed me to come in, and Todd and I to come and look at your processes.
How y'all doing?
Very well. Hi, Todd. We're here.
Okay. Just a few reminders. Inventory control forms, we talked about this last year. When you purchase equipment that for SNAP ET, we're not doing a separate inventory control form no longer. We're adding it to the adult ed inventory control form. So if you purchase new equipment for adult ed, this will be anything over $100. Be sure you add it to your adult ed inventory, and then where it says, I think it was the column location, that's where you would just put SNAP, and then if you would highlight that row in some kind of identifiable highlight, yellow or whatever, something to make sure we can readily see it. Also, personnel data forms. Directors, make sure you complete personnel data forms on folks that enter or leave your program, particularly in SNAP, but this goes for any other area as well. Budget amendments. You're allowed 2 amendments per budget. So a SNAP, you're given 2 amendments, and that doesn't account for within category changes or your final amendment. So just be mindful of that as you go forward. Also, your monthly expenditure reports. If you were checking email during this call, you may have seen that. I don't know if it's gone out yet or not, but there'll be a memo on it. The SNAP ENT expenditure reports for the month are going to be due the 5th instead of the 10th. So if you have a reminder on your calendar or however you do that, be sure to change that from the 10th to the 5th.
Todd, this is
Monthly
Sherry from
expenditure
North
reports where your LEA is reimbursed. Did someone have a question?
I'm sorry, Todd, it's Sherry. I didn't mean to interrupt. This is
Oh, you're
Sherry
fine.
Connor. We will not have our reports from our accounting by the 5th of the month. We never do.
Okay.
I'm the same way. That's just not going to happen.
Okay. So you may want to send an email to Dr. Miles and reach out and let her know that that may not work for your program. Thank you for letting me know.
Sure.
Upcoming events, as always, we have a good number of folks that haven't completed their career service provider training or career development facilitator training. This class is going to be offered one time this year. It's going to start September 24th and go through May 26th. This is an online program. It has 4 face-to-face visits in Little Rock. Your directors should have accounted for this in their budget this year. I've been told that application should come out in the next week or so, so be looking for that. I'll probably forward it out as well. This is a required training for all case managers or coordinators.
Todd, it's out now. I've already signed up.
Way to go, Jimbo.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions, comments, suggestions, frustrations?
Todd, it's Kim. May I please ask one question?
Sure.
Okay, on the personnel data form, on the submission of that exit data form, Ida Jo has been working with me recently, and she was telling me, she said, Kim, wait until UACCM submits the final reimbursement request that an individual is going to be paid on before I send in that exit personnel data form. I just wanted to check with you, and I know she was telling me that helps her on her side so she can make sure that person is still active when we're paying that final paycheck.
Right.
Is there any guideline? I mean, I want to make sure I do what she needs, but I also don't want it to look like I'm neglecting not turning them in a timely manner.
No, because she pays off those.
Okay,
So-
got it. So I'll do what she says then. Got it.
That process, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Hey, Todd, this is Briley.
Hey, Briley.
My Monroe County is not working at all. I've emailed Snap ENT about it, and they said IT is working on it.
Yeah, I saw that.
What do I just put 0 on their sheet? Just until it's fixed, or what?
Yeah, I mean, you can't do anything until you have something. So,
Okay.
yeah, just hang on through the end of the month and see what happens. Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions? Comments? Thank you guys for hanging in there. We went way over today, but I think we got a lot of good accomplished. Again, I appreciate your suggestions and recommendations. Our next meeting is scheduled for September the 16th at 2 o'clock. May or may not have a video component, but do appreciate you participating. Before we leave, let me check. Anyone from Arkansas Baptist join us? What about Mid-South?
Yes.
Port? Ozark? Black River?
Yes, we're here.
Black River?
Yes, we're here.
Ozarka?
Yes, I'm here.
Pulaski County? Pulaski Tech?
We're here.
All right. Thanks, LaRonda. You guys have a great week. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. We'll be glad to help you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.